The day the aliens arrived, the whole world watched. Giant silver ships floated down from the sky, slowly and quietly, like falling feathers. People gathered in streets, parks, and rooftops, holding hands and looking up. News channels called it the Day of Peace. Children waved flags. Some cried with joy. The world had waited for this moment for years, and now it was happening. The aliens stepped out in smooth, glowing suits. Their faces looked calm, their eyes large and shining. They smiled gently, and when they spoke, their voices were soft, like music. "We come in peace," said the lead alien, standing before Earth's leaders. Everyone clapped. Cameras flashed. But something felt strange. The aliens were too calm, too quiet. While they smiled outside, inside their minds, they were whispering something very different. Commander Alrix, the leader of the alien team, stood with his arms behind his back. He watched the humans carefully. A child ran up and gave him a flower. He smiled and bent down, thanking her. But his eyes changed for a second, like he had just seen something dangerous. "They look weak," whispered one alien soldier to another through their private channel. Alrix shook his head slightly. "You are wrong," he replied quietly. "They look kind, but there is something dark behind their smiles." The aliens had prepared for this mission for years. They had studied hundreds of planets. They had met many species, some smart, some strong. But humans were different. When their ship entered Earth's orbit, their scanners picked up something unusual. Human brain patterns were strange, more emotional, more unpredictable. Their bodies showed signs of past injuries and survival in extreme conditions. And when the aliens searched deeper, they saw something that made even their most experienced warriors feel uneasy. Humans had destroyed themselves many times and rebuilt again. They had faced war, hunger, disease, and survived. Not just survived, but improved. Their history was full of pain, yet they laughed more than any species the aliens had seen. This confused them. It scared them. Now, as they stood on Earth, looking at smiling faces and shaking hands, the aliens felt something they had not expected. Fear. Not fear of weapons, not fear of numbers, but fear of the unknown power hiding inside these beings. Alrix walked with the President of Earth. Reporters followed, asking questions, flashing lights in their faces. The President was proud. "This is a new beginning," he said. "Peace between worlds." But Alrix was not listening to the speech. His eyes were scanning the crowd. He noticed a man in a business suit. The man was laughing with others, but his heart rate was strange. Calm. Too calm. His eyes met Alrix's for 1 second. And in that second, Alrix felt like he was being watched, not the other way around. Later in the alien ship, Alrix sat with his team. He showed them footage from the day. "Look at their faces," he said, "smiling, but behind the smiles, there is something else." "They look like prey," said one of the younger aliens. "They are soft." "No," Alrix said sharply. "They are not prey. They are predators who learn to hide their teeth." The team fell silent. No one had ever heard the commander speak like that. He looked tired, worried. "I want full reports," Alrix ordered. "Scan everything. Their history, their behavior, their pain, their victories. I want to know what kind of creature smiles after burning cities and still calls itself human." That night, the Earth celebrated. Fireworks filled the sky. Music played in every country. People danced, hugged, cried. They believed a new age had begun, but above them, in the alien ship, no one was dancing. The aliens stared at screens, reading human history, watching war footage, listening to old news reports. The more they learned, the more afraid they became. Alrix stood alone in the observation deck, watching the Earth spin below. He remembered the little girl with the flower. So sweet. So innocent. But her brain scan had shown intelligence far beyond her age. "They smile too easily," he whispered to himself. "That means they've suffered too much and survived." Every time, At that moment, he understood. Earth was not a peaceful garden. It was a battlefield wearing a suit, a place where monsters had learned to be polite, where apex predators had learned to smile, and they were smiling at him. The alien spent the next days quietly watching the humans. At first, everything seemed calm. People went to work, children played, and the world tried to act normal. But the aliens knew better. They started small tests, trying to learn more about humans. They tested how fast humans could think, how strong they were, and how they reacted to pain. The results surprised the aliens again and again. One day, in a small, city lab, an alien scientist watched a young boy play a simple game against the alien's most advanced computer. The boy was not the best player in the world, but somehow he beat the computer easily. The alien blinked in disbelief. How could a human child beat a machine built with thousands of years of alien technology? The aliens also watched a soldier on the battlefield. This soldier got hurt badly, but kept fighting without any sign of pain. His body was covered with wounds, yet he did not stop. The aliens recorded this with shock. They had never seen anyone so strong in pain or will. It was like the soldier's body was made of steel and his mind of fire. Another moment shook the aliens even more. They observed an old woman who had lost everything in a terrible disaster. She had no home, no family left. But instead of crying, she laughed softly while telling stories of her past. The alien scanners couldn't understand this reaction. Why did she laugh after so much pain? The alien team began to feel confused and scared. Humans were full of strange emotions. Sometimes they cried, sometimes they laughed, and sometimes they showed anger or love all in one moment. No other species the aliens had met showed such complex feelings. Ulrich gathered his team again. "We must understand why humans smile so easily after suffering so much," he said. "Their minds are strange and dangerous." They looked at history, through the aliens' advanced technology. They saw old wars where humans destroyed cities and killed many, but they also saw humans rebuilding everything again and again. After every tragedy, humans grew stronger and more determined. The aliens could not believe it. On other planets, destruction often meant the end of a species, but not on Earth. One alien spoke quietly. "They say humans have something called hope, but it looks like more than hope. It is like fire inside them." Ulrich nodded. "They hide their power behind smiles and tears. They are not just survivors. They are fighters born to win." At night, the aliens' dreams were filled with strange images. They saw humans walking through fire and storms, always moving forward. They heard laughter that sounded both happy and angry. The nightmares left the aliens restless and unsure. They started to fear the humans more than any battle they had fought before. Meanwhile, humans around the world continued their lives, unaware of the deep fear growing in the alien ship above. Some humans began to notice strange things, small devices hidden in their cities, quiet signals coming from the sky. But they paid little attention. They trusted the aliens' peaceful smiles. One human scientist, Dr. Lena, felt a strange curiosity. She watched the aliens closely and wondered if they truly were friendly. She began her own secret research, trying to find out what the aliens really wanted. Back on the alien ship, Ulrich made a warning. "We must be careful. Humans are not like others. They may look kind, but they are ready for war at any moment." The alien soldiers trained harder, preparing for a possible fight, but no one wanted to start a war if they could avoid it. They needed more answers. As the days passed, the tension grew. The aliens knew they were close to learning the truth about humans, but they also knew the truth might be more dangerous than they ever expected, and the humans, still smiling, still playing, still living their lives, were watching back. The aliens spent many hours scanning Earth's history, trying to understand the strange creatures they now faced. They opened old archives filled with stories of humans from thousands of years ago. They saw images of great battles, fierce warriors, broken cities, and moments of peace that lasted only a short time before war returned. With every new piece of history, the aliens grew more confused and more worried. The history was not like any other they had seen before. On many planets, when a species fought wars or destroyed their homes, they often became weak or died out. But humans were different. Every time they faced disaster, they came back stronger. They learned new ways to fight, new ways to protect themselves, and new ways to build their lives again. Alrix watched a battle from hundreds of years ago. Soldiers fought with simple weapons, but their courage was clear. They did not give up, even when surrounded by enemies. One soldier, barely, more than a boy, carried wounded friends to safety. The aliens could see his pain, his fear, but also his determination. He smiled through the tears. Alrix felt something deep inside stir. Was this what made humans dangerous? The alien scientists found records of ancient leaders, some kind and wise, others cruel and ruthless. These leaders made tough choices that saved or destroyed millions. The aliens saw that humans could be both gentle and brutal, sometimes in the same moment. This ability confused the aliens. How could one species hold so much inside? Love and hate, kindness and cruelty. One alien asked quietly, "How do they carry all this inside without breaking?" Alrix answered slowly, "Because they choose to. They carry their pain and their hope together. They wear their smiles like armor." The aliens then looked at stories of human inventions and discoveries. Humans had sent machines to the moon and stars, created medicines that healed deadly diseases, and built cities that touched the clouds. But behind these achievements were stories of sacrifice and struggle. Scientists worked day and night, risking everything. Families lost loved ones but kept pushing forward. It was not just strength of body, it was strength of spirit. Alrix called his team together again. "We must tell the Council what we have learned. Humans are not like any species we have met. They are more than survivors. They are fighters, born to rule." But some aliens were not sure. One young soldier said, "They are dangerous, yes. But can we trust them? Their smiles hide sharp teeth." The team agreed. Humans were unpredictable. The alien scanners showed humans thinking, planning, and sometimes hiding their true feelings behind polite faces. The aliens had never faced a species that could be so kind and so deadly at the same time. The alien council gathered in a large room full of glowing lights and moving images. Alrix stood before them, showing the stories of humans, wars, pain, laughter, hope. The council elders watched quietly. One elder said, "These creatures are apex predators in disguise. They smile to hide their hunger for power." The council was worried. They had planned to invite humans to join the Galactic Alliance peacefully. But now, they feared that humans might be a threat to everyone. If humans ever learned how to use their full power, they could take over planets, stars, maybe even galaxies. The Council's decision was clear. "We will not attack Earth. We will observe from a distance. We must not anger the humans. For now, we wait and learn." Alrix returned to his team, feeling the heavy weight of the decision. The aliens would stay quiet, watching the humans like hunters waiting for the right moment to strike. But inside, Alrix wondered if that moment would ever come. Would humans ever show their true power? Or would they always hide behind their smiles? Meanwhile, on Earth, life went on. Humans laughed, cried, loved, and fought. They built dreams and destroyed fears. The aliens watched silently, learning more with each passing day. Alrix looked out from the ship's window. He saw cities filled with life and light. But he knew behind those bright windows were stories of pain, hope, and fierce survival. The humans were not just creatures of this world. They were its secret rulers. Behind every smile, Alrix thought, there is a predator waiting. The alien council sat in a vast chamber high above the stars, its walls glowing softly with shifting lights that showed images of many worlds. They had gathered to discuss the report from Commander Alrix and his team about Earth and its people. The room was quiet except for the soft hum of machines and the low voices of the elders. The images of humans filled the giant screens, smiling faces, busy cities, and then the darker moments, wars, destruction, and pain. The elders studied every scene carefully. Some looked worried, others angry, and a few were silent, lost in thought. One elder, an ancient being with deep-set eyes that seemed to hold the wisdom of millennia, finally spoke. These humans are unlike any species we have known. They are dangerous not because of their technology, but because of their spirit. They have survived death many times, only to rise stronger each time. Another elder nodded. Their history is a story of endless battles, yet they never surrender. They rebuild everything. They carry the scars of war as badges of honor. But what frightens me most is their ability to hide their true nature beneath calm smiles and polite words. A younger council member, skeptical but cautious, asked, "Can we trust them? If they are so strong and cunning, will they join the Galactic Alliance peacefully, or will they use their power to control others?" The council was silent for a moment. Then the eldest elder said slowly, "We cannot force peace on Earth. Their power is too great and unpredictable. If we anger them, it could lead to a war unlike any other. For now, we observe and learn. We do not attack. We do not interfere." Alrix listened from a hidden chamber where he had joined the meeting via a communication link. The weight of the council's decision pressed on him. He had hoped for a chance to build trust with humans, but now the order was clear. Watch, but do not engage. Back on Earth, the aliens continued their mission under strict instructions. They were to remain hidden, study the humans, and report any signs of danger. The term apex predators echoed in their minds. Humans were hunters at the top of the food chain, masters of survival and deception. One evening, as the alien team gathered to review new data, Alrix spoke quietly. "We must be careful not to underestimate them. They may smile and shake hands, but beneath those masks lies the heart of a warrior." His team nodded in agreement, but also in fear. They had seen humans cry for lost loved ones and laugh in joy moments later. This emotional strength was unlike anything they had encountered. The aliens started to notice subtle signs around them. Small groups of humans speaking in quiet tones near their ship, watching the skies more closely. The humans were not as unaware as they had thought. Alrix realized the humans might be aware of their presence, but instead of fear, the humans showed curiosity and calm. It was a new kind of challenge for the aliens. Could humans be inviting them to reveal themselves? Or was it a trap? The alien team grew restless. They trained harder, prepared for any attack, but also tried to understand the strange balance of power on Earth. The humans held many secrets, and the aliens knew they had only seen the surface. As days turned into weeks, the Council's warning stayed clear. Do not provoke the humans. For now, patience was their only weapon. They would wait, watch, and hope that the humans' smiles would never hide a deadly strike. But deep inside, Alrix feared that time was running out. The apex predators of Earth were awakening, and soon, the galaxy might see their true power. The tension inside the alien ship grew with every passing day. Commander Alrix and his team found themselves caught between curiosity and caution, unable to ignore the strange strength they sensed in the humans below. The more they watched, the more questions surfaced, questions that had no easy answers. The humans continued their daily lives, unaware of the silent watchers above. Cities bustled with energy, cars zoomed by, markets buzzed with people, and children laughed in playgrounds. Yet beneath this lively surface, Alrix saw shadows. The humans were always preparing for something unseen. Military bases increased their patrols. Scientists worked tirelessly on new inventions. Communities held secret meetings late at night. It was as if the entire planet sensed an approaching storm. One evening, Alrix gathered his team in the ship's command room. "The humans are not idle," he said, voice low but serious. "Their history has taught them to expect danger. They build their defenses quietly, without fear or panic. They prepare for war even in times of peace. The team watched a live feed from Earth's surface. They saw soldiers training in harsh conditions, their faces hard but focused. They saw leaders debating in government halls, speaking about alliances and security. They saw ordinary people ready to fight for their homes and families. This was not the image of a weak species. "We must understand what fuels their courage," said one scientist. "Why do they continue to fight, to hope, even when all seems lost?" Alrix looked at the screen thoughtfully. "It is because they are not just survivors. They are warriors. They wear their scars like medals, and their minds are sharper than any weapon we have." The alien studies revealed stories of humans overcoming impossible odds, from natural disasters that destroyed entire cities to deadly diseases that took millions. Humans had always found a way to rebuild. Their spirit was like a flame that never went out. But it wasn't just the strength of their bodies or their history that made humans dangerous. It was the power of their emotions. Hope, love, anger, and fear all mixed together in a way the aliens had never seen. These emotions gave humans the ability to make sudden, unpredictable choices. One day, the alien sensors picked up an unusual signal from Earth, a secret meeting between top human leaders and unknown guests. Alrix ordered his team to focus all their attention on this event. The message was short but clear. The humans were not just preparing for war, they were preparing for something bigger. The aliens watched as new alliances were formed, as humans shared technology and information quietly in hidden places. The Earth was changing, growing stronger and more united in ways the aliens could barely understand. Meanwhile, Alrix faced a growing conflict inside himself. He admired the humans' strength and spirit, but also feared their unpredictability. How could a species so full of contradictions be trusted? How could peace be possible with beings who smiled while hiding the heart of a predator? Late at night, Alrix found himself alone in the observation deck, staring down at the blue planet below. He thought about the little girl who had given him a flower on the first day, her innocent smile hiding the fierce mind of a future warrior. The silence around him was deep, but inside, Alrix's mind raced. "We must be ready," he whispered. "The humans will show us their true nature soon, and when they do, the galaxy will never be the same." As Earth's people celebrated their small victories and moments of joy, the alien watchers prepared for the storm they knew was coming. The apex predators were waking, and no one could guess what would happen next. The days turned into weeks, and the tension inside the alien ship grew thicker. Commander Alrix could feel it in every corner of the vessel. An uneasy silence filled the air, broken only by the soft hum of the ship's machines and the steady footsteps of soldiers preparing for an uncertain future. They were watching a planet that was full of life, hope, and hidden dangers. Alrix spent many hours studying Earth's broadcasts, news reports, and secret transmissions. The humans were not just surviving, they were thriving in the face of constant threats. Their cities grew taller. Their technology advanced faster than anyone had predicted. But with every new invention came whispers of unrest, protests, and political struggles. The humans seemed to be fighting not only against outside dangers, but also against themselves. One night, Alrix stood alone on the observation deck, watching a storm rage over a distant continent. Lightning cracked across dark clouds, and rain hammered down on cities below. He thought about the people caught in the storm, families huddled together, strangers helping each other, children scared but brave. In that moment, he realized something important. Humans were not just apex predators because of strength or weapons. They were apex predators because of their ability to come together, to protect each other, even when everything was against them. Alien scientists sent out teams to gather more information. They disguised themselves among humans, observing not just the leaders and soldiers, but the everyday people, the farmers, the teachers, the artists. They watched how humans smiled despite hard lives, how they sang songs in dark times, how small acts of kindness could change the course of a day. But Alrix also saw the darker side. The humans' anger, fear, and distrust sometimes turned violent. They could be cruel to one another, breaking bonds with words and actions. Their world was fragile, always on the edge of chaos. Yet somehow, they found strength in their brokenness. One day, an urgent message came from the alien scouts on the surface. They had found something unexpected, a hidden weapon, unlike anything the aliens had seen before. It was not made of metal or machines, but of ideas and beliefs. A network of humans connected through invisible threads of trust and loyalty, ready to defend their world with intelligence and heart. Alrix gathered his team. "This weapon is not physical," he said carefully. "It is their unity, the way they fight for each other, even strangers. This is why they survive. This is why they are dangerous." The team nodded in understanding but also unease. They had prepared for battles of fire and steel, but this was different. This was a war of minds and hearts, where every person mattered. The Alien Council called for another meeting. Alrix reported what they had learned. Humans were not just fighters. They were protectors of their world and of each other. Their power was in their connections, their emotions, and their will to keep going no matter what. The elders debated. Some wanted to warn other species to stay away from Earth. Others hoped to find a way to join humans in peace, learning from their strength rather than fearing it. Alrix remained silent, thinking about the future. He knew one thing for sure. The time of hiding was ending. Soon, humans would no longer be a mystery. The galaxy would have to face them as they truly were, smiling predators, warriors of hope and fire. As the alien ship moved quietly above the Earth, Alrix prepared his final report. He looked down at the blue planet and whispered, "The apex predators have awakened. Now we wait to see if the world is ready." The air inside the alien ship was thick with anticipation. Commander Alrix paced the command deck, his mind restless. After months of observation, countless reports, and endless debates, the moment of truth was drawing near. The humans below were no longer just subjects of study. They were becoming active players in a cosmic game that could change everything. The Alien Council had made their choice. Continue watching, but prepare for possible contact. They would not strike first, but they would not remain passive if the humans showed hostility. Alrix understood the delicate balance they walked, but deep inside, he felt a strange respect and even fear for the species they had underestimated for so long. On Earth, something was shifting. The humans, sensing the presence of Watchers, began to act with newfound purpose. Secret alliances formed between nations that had once been enemies. Scientists and soldiers worked side by side, developing new technologies and strategies not just to defend their planet, but to explore the stars. In hidden bases and quiet rooms, human leaders discussed the unknown visitors from the sky. Some called for peace, believing that cooperation could bring prosperity to all species. Others urged caution, warning that the aliens might be apex predators hiding behind smiles and suits, just as Alrix had warned. Meanwhile, the alien scouts embedded among humans sent new messages. They reported that humans were preparing for something big, an event that could unite the planet or tear it apart. The emotions the aliens had studied for so long, hope, fear, anger, and love, were stronger than ever. One night, as the alien ship hovered silently above a sprawling city, Alrix looked down and saw millions of lights flickering like stars. Each light was a story, a life full of dreams and struggles, fears and courage. He thought about the little girl who had given him a flower so long ago, the soldier who fought through pain, the old woman who laughed after loss. They were all part of this great human puzzle. Suddenly, the ship's sensors picked up a signal, a message sent not in words, but in feeling. It was a call for connection, a bridge reaching out from Earth's heart to the stars. Alrix felt a chill run through him. The humans were no longer hiding. They were ready to show who they truly were. Gathering his team, Alrix spoke quietly, but firmly. "The time has come. We will meet the humans, not as enemies, but as equals. But we must be prepared for anything. Behind their smiles are apex predators. They are fighters, survivors, and dreamers." The aliens prepared their first peaceful contact. A small craft descended slowly, its lights soft and welcoming. On the ground, human leaders waited, some anxious, some hopeful. The meeting was tense, but filled with a strange kind of respect. The humans spoke of peace and curiosity, but also of their readiness to defend their world. They did not hide their strength, nor did they underestimate the unknown visitors. They smiled, but their eyes held the fire of warriors. In that moment, Alrix understood the truth. Humans were not just creatures of Earth, they were forces of nature, apex predators born from struggle and hope, smiles and scars. They would not be controlled or defeated easily. As the two species stood face to face, the galaxy watched. The SAS future was uncertain, filled with both danger and promise. But one thing was clear: the humans had awakened, and the universe would never be the same. Behind the smiles and suits, the apex predators had risen.